Well, hello and welcome. You're watching India Fights Back with me, Rajat Kane. In this episode, we'll discuss the subject of mixing vaccines and the case for it as well as against it. Let's understand what is mixing a vaccine. Mixing Covishield and Covaxin, the two main vaccines against COVID-19, which is currently in use in India. Currently, these two vaccines are used in India, has been found to be safe and effective as claimed by a new ICMR study. Now, Covishield is an adenovirus vector-borne based vaccine, whereas Covaxin is an inactivated whole virus vaccine. Well, these two vaccines differ in their nomenclature. Now, worldwide studies are underway to understand if a combination of two different vaccines can outperform the two doses of the same vaccine which is otherwise administered so far. Now, experts, however, have raised a caution against mixing, arguing that mixing should not be randomly done but should be based on understanding multiple issues. The issue of mixing vaccine is sensitive, as World Health Organization or the WHO has warned that individuals should not decide on mixing vaccines just randomly. So basically, it has to be completely scientific and it has to be merit-based. Now, to discuss further on this issue, we join with panel of two guests, Dr. Raman Gangakherkar. He is member of National Task Force of COVID-19, and Professor Y.K. Gupta. He is member National Expert Group on Vaccine Administration for COVID-19. Many thanks, gentlemen, for being part of the show. Let me start with you, Dr. Gangakherkar, sir. You know, there is a study that has been conducted by ICMR. Now, they have made a case for mixing a vaccine. And as we speak, the sanction has also been given by the National Drug Controller for at least going ahead in terms of studying the merits of mixing the vaccine. So, so let's start with how the clamor or the case of mixing of vaccine began from.
Yeah, actually, the whole thing started from UK. No, UK also had problems of supplies of vaccine dosages, and they initially thought of a strategy that they will at least cover, because the outbreak at that time was in full rage. So they said that they would perhaps cover all the elderly population as it was prioritized by different age groups with at least one dose of vaccine, which was extremely successful.
Right.
But then by the time they covered the elderly population, they also thought that if I have to provide second dose, now how do I do that? Because the availability of dosages was a problem. So initially they had provided AstraZeneca, and then subsequently they had to provide the Pfizer vaccine. And when they looked at that particular issue, they also realized that it's not going to affect the outcomes, but in fact, it would raise the immunogenicity, mainly because these particular vaccines came from different platforms. One was adenovirus-based vaccine, that is AstraZeneca's vaccine, and the second one was mRNA vaccine.
Right.
Now, here in India, there was a mix-up in certain places. So they picked up 18 cases where the people received Covaxin as well as Covishield. Now, here also, both the dosages that they had received were from different platform. And it was also seen in the laboratory that it leads to higher antibody production. And therefore, it was thought that we now need to look at different studies for interchangeability design, where two different vaccines could be utilized to provide vaccines to the people.
Right. Many thanks, Dr. Gangakherkar, for explaining the rationale, of course, like how this clamor for mixing a vaccine began from. Let me have Professor Y.K. Gupta here, sir. Sir, is it a common practice of mixing two drugs of two different nomenclature? I mean, before we go into the merits and demerits of Covaxin and Covishield, but let's understand the nomenclature of these two vaccines. Yes, Professor.
Everything has to be evidence-based. When we had two vaccines, Covaxin, Covishield, our recommendation was that they should not be mixed. All precautions should be taken that they are not mixed. The reason was we were not having any evidence that mixing is good or bad, and therefore mixing was not allowed. Now, what has been questioned was, what will happen if this is mixed? And that is what Dr. Ganga Kedkar has mentioned, that not by fault, but by program, they tried to look into this because there was a necessity that there was a less of one vaccine, and therefore they thought that let us see if that can be mixed. And they found that yes, if it is mixed, there is no problem. Now in India, this was a serendipity, but this was in back of mind. And the serendipity was that these 18 people took the other vaccine of different platform.
Right.
From Covishield, they got Covaxin. Now, and then the ICMR immediately grabbed this opportunity to convert this serendipity into a study.
Okay.
And then it was found that the antibody titer was much higher than when it is given as a single. And there was no safety concern. The limitation here is that this is only in 18 subjects. And 18 subjects cannot make a general rule.
Right.
But this is a very good indication that we must look into greater detail. And that's why Drug Controller General India has given permission for a well-organized, well-defined, adequately numbered study having 300 subjects and which is being allowed to be conducted by CMC Vellore. Now, when the result of this will come, we will get a better idea of our perception or our preliminary evidence that can these two be mixed. Now, the several questions will come. A after B, B after A after B, should be the duration,
Right.
and when this mixing should be done. Is this mixing should be done when there is a no A and A? Or is this mixing should be done intentionally because we know that there will be a higher titer? These are the questions which are yet to be answered. My final take on this is that this is a growing evidence. And with this growing evidence, at this stage, we cannot make a policy. Therefore, let the research data come, then the policy should go.
Right, absolutely. So more data has to come before we arrive at any conclusion. Dr. Kedkar, sir, so far, the ICMR study that has been conducted by one of your scientists, Dr. Rajnikant, what does his report say in terms of the efficacy? And as it mentions, I mean, it's on the lower risk. It's safe to take 2 doses of different vaccines.
No, as Dr. Gupta said, no, we cannot speak of efficacy. Here, what we can speak is, does it increase the titers of antibodies in the samples that are obtained from those individuals, which were found to be higher? No, for efficacy, you actually need to conduct research to find out how protective they are. But does this mean that we will find that they would be better protective in a trial which is conducted with 300 people in both the arms? Perhaps unlikely, because the difference will not be so huge, given the fact that as it is with the vaccines that are administered in 2 dosages of the same vaccines, you find that the protection rates are extremely high. So the difference that you may have to detect will be small, which may not be detected. But in such studies, what is more important is, as we all are aware, Covaxin has far lesser side effects when it is given to people.
Okay.
But at the time of administration, let's say local and systemic kind of side effects that we see, they are proportionately very low. But when it comes to Covishield, you find that the proportions continue to be higher.
Yeah.
Now, it only means if I mix up 2 different vaccines, what is it? No, how is it going to affect my safety profile? Efficacy is being judged by the levels of antibodies that are found in the individuals who may receive two different dosages of this vaccine. That may later be assessed as a effectiveness study over a period of time, because this approach, if it is found to be useful in the labs, there is no reason to believe that this may be different in human beings as such when you try it in human trials.
Right. Dr. Raman Gangakherkar sir, I mean, before I move to Professor Vaikom Gupta, one small question to you. Is it for the first time that a vaccine of two different platforms would be used, would be mixed, so as to work out for the efficacy and, of course, like the subjectivity of its safety? For the first time, are we doing this exercise? Is it so?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
No, there have been interchangeability trials that have been done, and some of them have already been accepted.
Okay.
I'll give you a simple example. No, for Japanese encephalitis, there are different manufacturers. One was a Chinese manufacturer. There were other two manufacturers who belong to our own country. And when the supplies became an issue, we had to think in terms of interchangeability of these vaccines. Same is true with rotavirus vaccine. In rotavirus vaccine, we had to do interchangeability trials to find out whether it is possible that, because health is a state subject, in different states, they might buy a brand which is quoted lesser or what suits them. And if a person is migrating from one state to another, then you might find that earlier they had received one dose of a vaccine of a different brand,
right,
which may have had used different antigens for their own vaccine development. And when they land up into another state, they may have to take another brand per se. So these kinds of efforts have been done in the past. It is just that now we are trying it in COVID. This would be a big game changer if it turns out to be a good one.
Okay.
The reason is very simple, that then on, we may not have to worry about supplies only from a particular manufacturer.
Right, right.
Even if the manufacturer doesn't supply, you could mix and you could still provide protection to people. So for rapid scale, this is a definite good news if it actually fructifies in the human trial.
Right. Professor Vaikom Gupta, as Dr. Raman Gangakherkar argues for the vaccine, for the mixing of vaccine, he says it could be a game changer if it goes through. You agree?
I would certainly agree with that, but with a caution.
Right.
Caution is what Dr. Gangakherkar has very clearly said, that now when the evidence will come that vaccine and Covishield can be mixed, can be interchanged, this will be game changer, because if there is a less supply then of one, it can be given, because the duration of 4 months, 4 weeks or 6 weeks or 8 weeks, if it crosses that, then the person will not be wanting for the supply to be arrived. And therefore, this will be game changer. However, the caution is, suppose tomorrow Sputnik comes, suppose tomorrow Pfizer vaccine, suppose the Moderna vaccine. So interchangeability between these two vaccines does not necessarily mean that this can be interchanged with the others which are available, which are going to be available. So interchangeability study is specific to these two. And when the interchangeability studies of other vaccines will be done, then one can say if this is, say, one balloon and iske andar whatever the vaccines are can be interchangeable. So caution is interchangeability is specific where the evidence has been generated. Game changer because our apprehension that we have to give this, and people were apprehensive that agar ek lag gaya and then suppose the other one is different, he was under tension and develop hypertension. So that will not be there. It should be relaxed, because in fact, and also this interchangeability, as Dr. Raman has very rightly said, does not mean that we intentionally give A and then B. And to get the higher antibody, that evidence has so far not been there.
Right.
If that comes, that will be a different issue altogether.
Well, clearly the evidence, more evidence is required for that. Dr. Gangakherkar, I'll come back to the same question as you were explaining the situation in Japan, where two different platform vaccines were administered for purpose as you explained. Now, even in those administration of two different vaccine, was there any interest group which was kept away, especially from giving two different vaccines? What were the caveats then?
No, ideally, when you want to provide two different dosages, and the hypothesis is that if you mix two dosages, perhaps the levels of antibodies is likely to be higher. Then in those cases, you would perhaps select those patients who are likely to be non-responders. So those who are older patients, those who have chronic morbidity, or those especially certain groups which are immunocompromised, like those who have kidney disorders, that led to chronic kidney diseases which suppresses immune system, those who have HIV infection. No, among these people or transplant patients, among these patients, you would be justified in picking up a combination which is known to produce higher antibody titers. And this is precisely being done not so explicitly, but if you look at what is happening world over, no, world over they are trying to give mixed vaccines, especially for such groups where even vaccine non-responders would be higher. But here we are looking at it from a different feasibility angle.
Right.
That because we know our vaccine, let's say Covaxin, it cannot be produced at the same rate at which the Covishield can be produced. Now, if supplies becomes an issue in certain circumstances, at least it will remove a barrier, that you will not be able to provide second dose of a vaccine to somebody just because the supply is dried down.
Right. Professor Gupta, hypothetically, if we're discussing situation, or rather if we are in a situation of administering two vaccines, would there be any logistic issues that one could envisage at the outset?
I would say the logistic issue will be simplified if this interchangeability is established. Because today, one has to ensure that if you have a Covaxin, then you have to have a second dose of Covaxin with you.
Right.
If this is a Covishield, then you have to ensure that this has to be with you. But when this interchangeability is established, perhaps this worry will go. If there is a Covaxin is finished, but you have a Covishield, you can get it done. And if there is any state which is not getting Covaxin supply, then it can get a Covishield and then it can get it. And if the interchangeability established more, then this. So I would say the complexity will not increase, but this will rather decrease. Only thing would be that people should be told clearly that this interchangeability is established with these two vaccines and is yet to be studied with the other vaccines. It may be same, but data has to come, study has to come. So it should not be done that way. The thirdly, when this interchangeability studies are done, we also look for, is there any change in the safety profile or adverse reaction profile? That is also being looked very carefully in the protocol of the study which has been approved by the DCGI, conducted by Vellore. And if they give that this could be the potential things, then I think there can be an extra eye required for that. But that is a possibility. As on date, with the 18 experience, there is no additional safety concern.
Right. Dr. Ganga Khedkar sir, as we are about to close the show, so just last question to you. So why is WHO, not so enthusiastic about it as yet?
The reason why WHO would not be interested or would not support it is, one is lack of evidence. If you look at what is available in the largest exporter, potential largest exporter, they would be worried, if we give such a kind of recommendation, what will happen to people? Second thing is, it is also likely that it will raise a demand that if this is going to raise my antibody titers better, I want a mixed
Particular
vaccine
yeah.
rather than the same vaccine.
Right.
The third thing, and we all know, no, there are not many vaccine manufacturers. So if every country starts asking like this, then it will become far more difficult for them to handle these circumstances
Certainly.
at this juncture. The third thing, which is also important, is when you talk, the cost can also be influenced by mixing. No, because when you have to negotiate doing hard bargain with both the manufacturers. No, it's not going to be so easy. And for manufacturer also, it becomes a major dilemma.
Right.
No, he doesn't know how many dosages can be sold in a X market. No, because basically he is unaware about the uptake of vaccine that would occur in X country. No, whether his vaccine is going to be matched in terms of production by some other country, some other manufacturer as well. So everything becomes skewed in terms of supplies related issues. And at the same time, the backdrop is we don't have sufficient evidence, excepting for the evidence that Pfizer and Moderna can be mixed with AstraZeneca, which was generated in UK. But beyond that, we don't have evidence. So they would be worried and they would be cautious in approaching and saying yes to mixing.
Sir, before I go off to Dr. Vaikom Gupta, I'll ask the same question to him. Now, if we mix these two, if the study goes through, if it's, the interchangeability is accepted and works out well, will that change scenario for what we're working on, the hypothesis of a possible booster shot or a third dose?
I think it would be too premature to say
that
sir. If I give mixed dose of vaccine, whether it is going to avoid booster.
Right.
In the first place, we must accept one thing. Even to this date, we don't have sufficient evidence that a booster has to be provided. Neither do we have evidence when it should be provided. Now, if we jump guns and say that if I mix up two different vaccines, I would not require booster, perhaps everything becomes too speculative. To my mind, we should believe in what we are seeing, rather than what we would imagine.
Right. Professor Gupta, your take, sir?
There is no second opinion about it. I think the general public, the media, and including scientists should not do much speculation on this.
Absolutely.
Should only base on the evidence which is available so far. Now, the booster, whether it is required or it will be required or not required, is a possibility based on limited observation, and therefore I will not worry about whether I will require a booster or not. Let the scientists produce the data and then make a policy, then I will go for a booster. So far, there is no evidence, there is a little possibility, or I would say no possibility, that these mixing two will increase the titer to such a higher level, which will sustain for longer and will not require booster. Also, whether the booster will be required or not, which Dr. Ganga Khetkar said, is a question, because whether the drug, whether there will be infectivity continue or not, whether we will require the vaccination, whether we will require is also a question. So I would not be worried about the booster dose now. Let this remain in the scientist domain.
Absolutely.
And second thing, I will not be much keen about the booster by boosting effect by these two combining for the time being till the data comes.
Absolutely. So it all depends upon data, and of course, it's all about science, and that is how we have to fight this battle against COVID-19. Well, this is what we keep emphasizing on every episode, and every time we have these experts with us who talk only and only on the basis of science, and they are the ones who are clearing all the doubts about what to do about COVID, what is happening around the world when it comes to COVID-19, whether it's vaccination, whether it's treatment protocol. So there we have these two gentlemen, Dr. Raman Ganga Khetkar, Member National Task Force of COVID-19, and Professor Vaikom Gupta. Sir, many thanks for joining us. And once again, sir, I mean, once we would like to appeal to all our viewers that please keep following COVID appropriate behavior, and of course take your vaccination shot if you're eligible. Well, that's it in this edition of show. Thank you. Goodbye.